Welcome to the first portion of today's workshop, A Cool Way of Strategy Execution. Developing a strategy doesn't guarantee the results we wish to achieve. Did you ever wonder why? Throughout my childhood and up to my adulthood, I was looking for answers to this question. How come when you develop a good strategy, that doesn't guarantee you results? Of course, as I grew up, I realized that the strategic planning process involves two steps. Number one is to develop a good strategy. Number two is to execute that strategy. And those who understand the mindset that we need to have and the strategies that we could use to develop good strategies and execute them flawlessly are the achievers in life. Of course, we want our clubs to be successful. That's exactly why helping our club leaders with developing club success plans and executing them effectively is one of the strategic priorities of Division C leadership team this year. In summer, we offered a workshop where we helped our clubs how to develop good strategies. And now, today, we would like to help our clubs and learn from each other how one can effectively execute strategies. If you are interested in learning about how to develop club success plans, you can access that through the chat. One of our members will post the ideas approach that we shared with our clubs. But today's discussion is basically on strategy execution, not about strategy development. We have a good plan. We assume you have a good plan. Now let's discuss how we are going to execute that flawlessly. In order to have more fun, we invited Division B this time to join with us. As we all know, more the merrier. So my good friend, Division B Director Claude Racine, came on board with us. So we are offering this as a joint Division BC event. Through the panel discussion this evening, we try to understand the mindset we need to develop in order to be successful in executing a strategy. We are about to learn from two accomplished individuals who have walked this path magnificently well before us. At the end of the panel discussion, there will be a time where we will allow you to ask more questions from our distinguished panelists. Sounds like a plan? All right. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our distinguished panelists. First, let's welcome Carmen Lee Pao. Distinguished Toastmaster Carmen Lee Pao is a past district governor in District 18 and a recipient of Toastmasters' highest honor, a presidential citation. She's a member of 3 clubs and a mentor to many members within District 18. Carmen, it's an honor to have you with us today. Joining Carmen is distinguished Toastmaster Lynda Starr. Lynda Starr is the Region 9 advisor in Toastmasters International. In this role, she works closely with district leaders to help them on their path to success. Lynda joined Toastmasters in 2006 and has held multiple leadership roles from the club level to the district level and now at the international level. Her home district is 83, where she is a member of Dining to Speak Toastmasters and What Exist Toastmasters. Welcome, Lynda. Each of these panelists bring gravitas to today's discussion. Thanks in advance for taking the time to spend this evening with us to share your wisdom. We have a lot to learn from you, so let's get the party started. Lynda and Carmen, before we get into the main section where we are going to discuss strategy execution, I would like to know your story. We all have unique stories, and I think we all would learn from your story. how long have you been a Toastmaster and what brought you to Toastmasters? I'll start with Carmen and then let's move on to Lynda.
And unmute myself. That's the first thing I need to do. Hello, everyone. It's great to see some new faces. It's not often I get an opportunity to see new faces, and especially from Canada. And in case you don't know, that's my second home. That's where my parents and everybody migrated. But I decided I was coming to the States since I was working with a US company. I came to the United States 43 years ago. I worked with American Life Insurance Company. And most of you may know that company. We have branches in Canada too, or the home company, which is AIG. And as soon as I came here as the new senior international underwriter and trainer for 60 countries around the world, they were chartering a Toastmasters organization, a club. And I was approached, come on down, we need you. We like when it's new people coming in. I asked the question, what is Toastmasters? Because I had not heard about Toastmasters where I was living in Trinidad, not knowing that they had one and only one club. And they told me what Toastmasters was all about. So I said, I am not afraid to speak in public. I have been a public speaker. I have been a trainer. I've been on stage since I was a kid. My parents had us involved in the community. So I was always on stage, singing, dancing, acting, doing all kinds of crazy things, if you want to say. So being in front of the public was not a problem for me. I love the fact that I could go on stage and not be afraid. And as you know, fear is the biggest thing about public speaking. Face your fear, evaluate your fear, accept your fear, and just respond, folks. That's what fear is all about. But one particular thing I learned in Toastmasters that kept me there for all these 43 years is evaluations. The evaluation process of getting positive and constructive feedback is what kept me in Toastmasters. Truly, truly, truly. I've done all these things on stage, and everybody keeps saying, oh, you did a fantastic job. It was good. It was nice. But there is always a way for one to improve, right? We can all always improve. Doesn't matter how good we think we do, because better is the enemy of best. Look behind your shoulder. If you think you're the best, there's somebody coming up behind you who's going to be better than you. So don't move away with that. No. Toastmasters evaluation, positive and constructive feedback, that kept me in Toastmasters. That helped me to excel more than I thought I was able to do. And
Wow.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm a Toasty for life. Thank you.
Exactly. That's how I think about Toastmasters too. This is my lifestyle. I'll be here until the last moment. Okay, Lynda, can you tell us about your story? What brought you to Toastmasters?
Thank you, Rishanthi. Thank you for inviting me to participate. I'm excited to be here and to meet Division B and C. I joined Toastmasters in 2006, and as part of a performance review, I had been working as a telecom industry analyst, and I was doing many presentations. Like Carmen, I was not nervous about public speaking because it was parts, when you do a presentation, you practice and you practice and you're prepared, you know what you're going to say. The part I had little hesitancy with was the Q&A afterwards, or impromptu speaking with the audience, and so suggested to me that I join Toastmasters. So I thought, okay, I will join. I'll stay about a year, and I will show them at work that I'm taking their feedback. And at that time was the competent communicator. So I said, okay, well, I will stay as long as it takes for me to do the competent communicator manual. Well, I didn't stay at that job too much longer, but by that point I was hooked on to Toastmasters in those days, it was the opportunity to improve my public speaking, my communication in general. Famous last words, probably in about 2008, we were talking about a contest, and I said, I don't think I want to do anything outside the club. And I would have been perfectly happy with that. In 2010, I was asked to be an area governor. So it was, in those days, they were area governors. And I said to my two mentors, do I want to be an area governor? I'm not even sure what that is. And they said, well, if you want to get your DTM, you should be an area governor, area director. And I thought, do I want to get my DTM? And so I said, well, why not? I like to be helpful. And it seemed like a good opportunity. And after that, I became hooked. Still like the public speaking part, and I do a lot of that. But I think even more so, I became hooked on the leadership role. And I know we have some questions about that, so I will stop there.
Great. So you all started somewhere, but see where you have come. Through these years, you have become better leaders. So this brings me to my next question. What does leadership mean to you? What kind of characteristics that you would see in good leadership? Let's start with Carmen again, and then Lynda, over to you next.
Okay. Now, all of you know John Maxwell. John Maxwell said leadership is influence. And I agree. But leadership is the most misunderstood word with no one size fits all definition. Why? Because we are so different. We are so diverse in who we are personally and the people that surround us, the people that we have to deal with. Three basic characteristics I would like to share with you. And I would like to use the word lie, Lie. I've just done a workshop on the entire word leadership using it as an acronym. But tonight I'm just going to use three, Lie, lie, L. A good leader is one who knows how to listen. He or she must be a good listener. Don't feel that you know everything. Listen. Evaluate what you are listening, and then you can respond if necessary. Second, a good listener must also have, as a leader, integrity. Integrity is something my father shared with us as children growing up. There are 10 of us, 10 children. Character. He would say, people are always watching. Be careful of what you do and what you say, and to whom you say these words that may affect your integrity. Good, strong moral principles and the ability to act in difficult situations, but with fairness. That's the I. E, empower. Don't think you can do everything. Empower the people around you. Empower your children. Empower your friends, even your brothers and sisters. People who may be older than you, empower to hand over the power you have to the younger ones so they too can empower others under them. So one is to listen, one is to have, two is to have integrity, and three, E, empowerment. Empower. Lie. As a matter of fact, if we have the chance, but I don't think we may have the chance because there's so much things that I can give you all the different words I've used in the acronym. But let's move on over to Lynda.
Thank you, Carmen. I would say that leadership is helping individuals and organizations to succeed based on your own experience and knowledge. So it's not, as children, we play follow the leader, but that's not leadership. That's imitation. Leaders really are pushing, in a gentle way, pushing others to be their best selves, or helping an organization to achieve its goals and being the best that it can be. So you need to have experience and knowledge to lead. You also need to have a vision of what the organization or the individual want to achieve. I agree with Carmen that you definitely need to be a good listener. And I think I will probably talk more about this later, but it's not about you as a leader. It's about the others, it's about the organization. You have to have empathy, knowing what the other people are feeling. And as I said, it's based on your own experience and knowledge. So it's empathy based on being there yourself. Now, I'm a good leader in Toastmasters. I think I'm a good leader at work, but you really can't put me, I wouldn't be a good leader as a coach of a basketball team or something like that, because I'd have some empathy, but I wouldn't have enough because I'm not a basketball player. I wouldn't have the knowledge. And that would lead me to the third thing I think you should be is a role model. You need to, talk the talk and more so walk the walk. You need to act as you want other people to act so that they can see, what a leader in the organization should be, or what a decent person should be. And it's not always, people sometimes will say, well, I don't want to be a leader, or I'm not a leader, I'm a whatever, and they'll mark off their profession, or I'm a parent, I'm a stay-at-home parent. You're always a leader. You're the leader of your family, you're the leader of your own life.
Well said, Linda. Leadership is a lifestyle, as I believe. You can be a leader anywhere you are in, and it doesn't have to be your work, and you don't need a title. You can show your leadership qualities. And I'm really happy to hear that from distinguished Toastmasters like you who have really practiced leadership throughout your life. Now we know who you are and what kind of leadership philosophy you have in life. Let's get straight to our topic today, strategy execution. You both have successfully executed strategies in life, at work, in other nonprofit community areas, and plus in Toastmasters. In your view, why do you think most perfectly developed strategies fail to achieve the desired outcomes? Maybe this time let's start with Lynda and then let's go to Carmen.
Okay, well, I think that we lose focus for several reasons. I think part of it is there's an expression, the main thing needs to be the main thing. So when the main thing is no longer our primary goal, that's when we lose focus. And how do we do that? Well, there's something that I always have to be aware of at work. So I work with clients. I work in marketing communication and helping clients with their marketing, media relations, and so forth. And that's called scope creep. So that means when you think the project is, these three things, and either because you get excited or it kind of branches off, well, what about, oh, we're doing this and we really need to do that. Or suddenly the clients come back to you and say, well, we appreciate what you're doing, but can you also look into this, this, and this? And then the project expands beyond your initial expectations, and that can eat into your timeline. If you're a business, it can also eat into your profitability. But for Toastmasters, I would say that can eat into primarily your timeline, where suddenly, what started out as your convention, your district conference, and you were going to have one keynote speaker, suddenly now you have 5 keynote speakers, and how do you fit all these people in? So what you need to do is you need to keep a running to-do list of what has to be done, and then keep, some people call it a parking lot list, which is a list of things that you want to do next time. And if you're in business, it's good to go back to the client and say, well, for this project, we're doing these 3 things, but we'd love to work with you on these other projects. And then you can also be upselling them. But I would say we lose focus when we lose sight of what the priorities are.
Yeah, losing focus is one of the culprits in our strategy execution process. Carmen, what do you think? What could be the causes where we derail from our path to success?
Losing focus and derailing, I would say two words: bad communication. And that's the reason we are in Toastmasters, to learn proper communication and how to communicate. There are times in life when we as leaders do not communicate exactly what it is we need or what we want, how we want it. And as a result, what do we get in the end? Something that is unfinished, unaccomplished, or not properly completed. When we give bad communication and there are others who are not involved that come into the conversation in between when the meetings or whatever it is we're trying to accomplish is going on, it is lost between the two sets of areas. One area will get what is needed. The other area comes in at the end, and they now come to derail what is being accomplished by those who were there in the first place, who got the good communication as to what we want and how we are going to meet it, how we're going to get to the deadlines. The second comes in halfway through, thinking that they understand what is needed, and we are derailed. We get mad. You don't need to get mad. You have to learn to reset your cycles because you want inclusiveness of both the first and the second group. You want everyone to become involved. You can't afford to lose your mind over them because when you do that, you lose them. I'm going to give you a very quick example of focus. Last year in my own district, I'm telling you about, and this is God's truth. They were planning the district conference. And the DD, or the, no, it was DD at the time, it was what, EVP or EV, I can't even remember since they changed up all these different names. But the person who was in charge of the planning asked for volunteers. Several volunteers came on, and they dropped out one by one, until she was hardly left with anyone. Now, I have a reputation for putting on, and I can boast about it, for putting on some real awesome conferences that makes money. Because I start with a zero-based budget. When you start with that, you know what you have to do? You have to plan. Because if you don't make a plan, then you plan to fail. I always make a plan, and a plan that I hope and I know will succeed. You have to have that confidence in yourself as a leader. I was called in at the very last minute to help out. And I said no, because I heard of some real crazy stories. And I didn't want to get involved because my son was sick, my husband was sick. And I said, no, no, no. It's time for me to take a rest. After 40-something years, I need a rest. I was called again and again and again. And the third time, I said yes. And my response was, when I make a commitment, I keep my commitment. I dedicate myself to doing what it is I'm committed to. It also means I may have to hire and I may have to fire some people, because I am not going to have those individuals that is going to be there that will cause confusion. I'm a no-nonsense type of individual. I brought in some of my own people, but I told the dean, I do not want the post as chairperson. I will take the post as advisor. I will then empower the new people that have been coming in to help them. And that's what I did. And you know why all of this happened? Because the individuals who were part of the planning did not read what they're supposed to read. Toastmasters give us the information out there how to do things. So many times we just don't read it. We put the books on top of the refrigerator and try to do things the way we think it should be done. It doesn't work out that way.
Yeah.
Reading and understanding, reading contracts, negotiating.
Mm.
At the end, the conference was a success.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
People learned. And
Yeah.
with that, now they're taking that learning back to their clubs.
Mhm.
so that the clubs can put on even more successful conferences into the areas, into the division, into the district.
Yeah.
That communication was
Mhm.
resulted in what started off as something that may not have been good. And especially when you have an international past president visiting you, you gotta come good, strong. You
Of
gotta
course. How to,
and we did it.
yes, good.
Said what happens at the back of us, in the back of us, stays behind there. As they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Let the folks come and enjoy themselves, have a good time, and think that, wow, what a conference.
Yeah, thank you, Carmen. So you both alluded to two main points in failures in strategy execution because we lose focus and we don't communicate our strategic goals to all levels within the organization where you are. Maybe the top knows what they want, the bottom doesn't know, the middle is confused. So you don't get your strategic goals achieved because you are not part of one team who works towards one goal because the communication fails. These are really good examples we can find from any area in our life. I would like to know from you, when you approach a task, what kind of strategies you use, Lynda, in terms of keeping your focus towards the main goal that you need to accomplish?
So it's very important to know what the tasks are and know what the deadlines and the timelines are. Because I see this in myself where the amount of work expands to fill the time. Now, non-Toastmaster example, if I clean my house on Sunday mornings, and if I have to be somewhere at noontime, I get up Sunday morning and I clean the house, and I have time to get dressed, get ready, and be out the door and be where I need to be noontime. If I have nothing to do on Sunday, I can still be cleaning in the middle of the afternoon. It's not because I'm doing anything more thoroughly. It's because I stop. I might make a phone call. I might look at Facebook. I might do something else. So you need to have that discipline and to be like, these are things that are going to need to be done. And this is the amount of time I need to spend. So it's an overall deadline that I need to get things done by the end of the month. It's also the deadlines of how long you're going to spend on each item and what are the priority items. And if there are things that you can do quickly and get them out of the way, I would say do those first. You know your own work style. And if I have to do a lot of writing, a lot of thinking, I'm more of a morning person. So I would want to do those things in the morning. If I need to interview people or meet with people, I'll try to do that in the afternoon because that will help to perk me up. So you need to know what needs to be done and how you're going to, what resources you have. So it's not only just your self-discipline and but what other resources do you need? Do you need other people to help you? And giving them both, the accountability and the resources, and time is a resource as well. So if you need something, if you need to finish your portion by the end of the month, you, depending on your timeline, will say you need to tell them that it needs to be done by the 20th or whatever. And you need to tell them by the 10th of the month that they need it on the 20th. You don't tell them on the 19th that it's due on the 20th. So it's that the discipline to know what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and what's the best way to get it done, and then making sure that you you settle in and you do what needs to be done.
Well said, well said. So of course, we kind of need to have some personal strategies that we could bring to work or wherever that you are leading a group. Carmen, I know you seems a really well-disciplined person, no nonsense. I can see that, and you have executed that in your leadership life. Can you share with us, new Toastmasters, how do you self-discipline yourself? There are times that we all lose motivation And when we lose motivation, it's so hard to discipline ourselves. And throughout your life, you must have practiced something that we could learn from. What kind of strategies that you use in terms of developing self-discipline as a leader?
I laugh at that. And I'll tell you why I laugh, I smile, because self-discipline is very, very difficult. Think of an example of weight loss. You make a decision, I need to use 20 pounds. And at the end of 12 months, you still haven't lost that 20 pounds. Discipline. Discipline, it is difficult. Discipline have to come from you inward. Your inner self have to have that strength to carry out whatever it is you want to do or changes you want to make. Not only you have to be focused and have that inner self strength, but you have to make smart goals. You have to have a piece of paper. Set it up on a mirror in front of you because whatever it is you're working on is important. SMART. You all know what it means, right? Smart formulas, being specific, make sure it's measurable. Is it achievable? Is it relevant? And is it timely? And the same goes for Toastmasters. Right now, as we approach the second half of the year, where is our discipline when it comes to the club success plan? Now, I am a fighter when it comes to that because I know of many clubs during my years, even as district governor, I visited every single club in my district because I didn't want them to know me by name. I wanted them to know who is Carmen Lipao. And when I say business is business, business is business. Take out your club success plan. Let's get together, all 7 of us, and talk about it. Toastmasters gives us the information, but we don't use it. We don't read. We depend on others to read it for us. And then they want to just pick up their phone and call one. Can you help me with this? You know what the person should be saying on the line? Go and read your manual. So for me, self-discipline, it is inside. You got to come from inside of here. You got to be disciplined for yourself first before you can discipline others. But you've got to stay on top of yourself when you make that resolution that you want to lose some weight, or I want my club to become distinguished. My club has been president's distinguished now how many years in a row? 21 years in a row. Why? We are disciplined in things that we do, and they know they have me. They call me the godmother, the all kinds of things. I have the whip. I am focused on where we want to go. I don't let nothing distract me. If there's a distraction because it's something in my family or something like that, I know I have someone that I can call upon. Can you look into that for me? Follow up. We don't follow up. If you don't follow up, how are you going to know where you are and where you want to be? Everybody have to take responsibility for each position that they hold in Toastmasters or in life. If you want to be a mother, then you have to take on that responsibility. If you want to be a club president, you have to take on that responsibility. It is taking on the responsibilities and taking it on being in here. This is where the change comes from. It doesn't come from our mouth. It comes from in here. And we have to be disciplined by being focused and being on top of things and seeing it to the end. Not everything may come out as the way we want it, but we stay and we follow up, and we must be inclusive of all the parties that are involved. Everybody must want it.
Yeah.
Success. You got to be hungry for it, right?
Exactly.
Hungry.
Hungry. I really like the word. I think I used that with my mentee too. I was hungry when I came to Toastmasters. I really want to learn what Toastmasters has to offer. So that made me going. And when we all work on us, when we all work on personal development, if we all do that, then you have the best club that you can ever imagine. In terms of tracking progress, what kind of advice you could do? Because as we know now, we work on ourselves. Personally, we develop, but at the same time, we are working with a team. How can you positively influence others? Of course, we can use different ways. In Toastmasters, this is a volunteer organization. It's hard to use force here. We need to have some charming strategies that we could help others inspire with the vision we have. I'm sure you both have used your charms throughout your leadership journey to positively influence others and motivate others to come with you in this journey. Lynda, can you please tell us how can we motivate our teams positively without using force?
We definitely can. So it's a combination of trust and accountability. Whereas you trust them to be in charge of something, you're going to handle the first timer event at the conference. And here's how we've done it in the past, so that they understand here are the best practices from the past. Make sure that they understand what it is that they need to do. What is a first timer event? What do we generally include in that event? Now, again, you can give them leeway, give them the ownership to do what they want, but here are the things they need to understand what's happening at the conference. They need to understand how they can participate and give them things like that. And then make sure, so give them the resources that they need, give them room to grow on their own, to be on their own, but check in with them regularly. And Carmen mentioned this, so we don't follow up. And I know I was guilty of this, where you think, well, these are all responsible adults. If they say they're going to do something, they're going to do it. But that doesn't always happen. It doesn't mean that they're not responsible. It just means that life happens. And I'm sure we've all heard people say, well, my family's first, then work, then Toastmasters. And generally that is correct. But if you've committed to do something for Toastmasters or for any organization, it's expected that you're going to do that. So check in with people and be wary when they say, oh yeah, I have it done. It's under control. You'll have it by your deadline. And you need them to say, well, okay, well, what have you done so far? Oh, well, what have you done for it? So you don't want to say, what have you done so far, making them sound defensive, but you could say things like, well, okay, well, did you decide what type of event you're going to do with the first timers? Or have you decided, do you have other people on your committee? Or, oh, who else is on your committee? So make them feel like you're just looking for information and not exactly checking up on them. So they have to understand priorities. They have to understand the task. And Carmen was talking about empowerment, which is one of my favorite words. You do have to say it that way, empowerment. But I think it's empowering them to do things, but they also have to have what one of my past district directors would call proactive empowerment, meaning that they have to take responsibility for themselves and empower themselves to do the things that are needed. So it's, as I said at the beginning, it's the trust with accountability, or I think it was Ronald Reagan who said, trust but verify.
Yeah.
Trust but
So
verify.
make sure that people know what they're doing, what's expected of them, and make sure that they're delivering on it.
Well said. Of course, with power comes responsibilities. We could use responsibility in different ways, and we could, of course, use it with our teams by proactively empowering them. That's a key takeaway for me from this discussion. With that, I'm going to wrap up our session. We learned a lot from these wonderful panelists. But before I summarize, I would like to invite you both to give us maybe very briefly what is your advice to District 61 as new leaders, aspiring leaders? What is the most important priority that we should be focusing on in our Toastmasters leadership journey? Lynda, and then to Carmen.
You're muted.
Well, thank you. As I said earlier, I think that it's important that we realize that as leaders, it's not about us. It's about what's best for the members, what's best for the district. So we need to focus on that. We also need to focus on being a guide. And when I started as region advisor this year, the first day they gave us the quote that said, you know, be a lighthouse for your leaders. You know, be a light that guides the way as they steer their boats. Do not steer for them. So it's letting them grow and learn and grow and do what needs to be done, as opposed to trying to jump in and do everything for them. So delegate, that's another important area.
Thank you, Lynda. Carmen?
Well, first I would like to say is what I do in my clubs that I visit, and I'm a mentor of several clubs, but I belong to 3. I watch and I listen. And I watch each individual. And somehow within my brain, crazy as it may be, I can see the people that can be leaders. And I approach them and I go, how would you like to try something new? But the first thing I want you to ask yourself is, do I have the time to really commit to doing the job? If they don't have the time, then don't commit, because you will just leave the club hanging. You don't want that. Approached about being an officer in Toastmasters, my mentor told me, talk to your husband, talk to your children first, and find out if they will support you. And I did that. Stupid as it may sound. I said, you guys support me in this? It means hours of volunteerism. Join Toastmaster. You don't just join Toastmasters and start giving speeches and evaluations and table topics. No. You give of your time, and that time is valuable. It also means homework. A lot of people don't realize that as a leader, you have homework to do, because you have to plan for your officers meetings. What are you going to do when the 7 of you get together? Are you going to be planning and doing and reading the cups of suspense? Do you want to be select distinguished or president distinguished? Let them understand that there is homework involved. Tell them to take notes. Tell them to watch. Tell them to listen. Inspire them to not to be afraid. Don't feel afraid. If you fail, there is always somebody there to help pick you up. Failure is the enemy of success turned inside out. We have to understand that. We have to know that. We have to learn that. But we have to be passionate in whatever we do or say. When others see the passion in you, they want a piece of that. They want to feel that way. They want a piece of that. What makes you so passionate? I said, I see you. And when I see you excel, I feel good within my heart, knowing that as your mentor, I did something good.
Well said. Well said, Carmen. Of course, service is our motto. As I heard from both of you, we need to be able to listen to our whoever we are leading, and we need to be able to support them, empower them, and we need to find the priority in our lives. And if we are not happy, as I always say, if we are not happy, we can't make others happy. So first of all, take care of yourself. When you are productive, you can spill that productivity across the spectrum wherever you are as a leader. Thanks again, Carmen and Lynda, for joining us this evening. We really, really appreciate your time and sharing your wisdom with us. This first part of the event was just to understand the mindset that we need to develop as leaders as we execute our strategies so we can be successful.